Welcome to Debates in English, a weekly English lesson for intermediate and advanced English learners interested in culture, society, politics, philosophy, and psychology. I'm Sam, your host, an experienced English teacher who has spent thousands of hours in the classroom helping hundreds of students improve their fluency. Each episode, I'll introduce a controversial topic and explore both sides of the debate. In the description, you can sign up for the free lesson pack, which includes a transcript of the lesson with important vocabulary highlighted with definitions and example sentences, also exercises to test your listening and writing skills. Welcome back, everybody, for another lesson. This lesson today, we're going to have a look at a very interesting political and economic policy, which is called Universal Basic Income, sometimes called UBI for short. And this idea became quite popular over the last few years as there was a candidate in the American presidential election called Andrew Yang, and he had the idea of giving everyone in America a universal basic income. A universal basic income is what you'll see on either the thumbnail or the kind of description, the title of this video, where the government gives everybody, including rich people, including the richest people, free money. And the money is supposed to be given to these people to cover the basic needs of living. So the idea is to give people enough money so they can afford food, shelter, water, heating, electricity, transport, I guess. And the idea of this is to reduce and eliminate poverty once and for all. So even though the United States and the United Kingdom are incredibly rich countries relative to other countries, and there are people in those countries who are really rich and have lots of money, there are still lots of people who live in poverty. For example, in the United Kingdom, we have 4.3 million children who are classified as living in poverty. So supporters of universal basic income think that if we give every single person some money, essentially, then they can spend that money. So it goes back into the system. It's not like they're just keeping it and the money gets taxed from people and then it just sits in people's bank accounts. But people will spend that in the economy and the money will still continue to circulate. So people think that if we give everyone enough money to afford the basic things, then we will completely eliminate poverty. And it's quite an interesting idea. I think it's quite a radical idea. It's not particularly a new idea because I think people were talking about this in the 1800s, believe it or not. But yes, universal basic income is an idea that people on the left of the political spectrum have thought about. When I have thought about this idea and when I have brought this idea up to people, often people just think it's really stupid and think, why would we just give everyone free money? Why don't people just go to work and get jobs and pay for food and housing that way? And it's a pretty good argument against it. So let's jump into the debate. I'm going to give 3 reasons why I think universal basic income is a good idea and 3 reasons why I don't think it's a good idea. The first reason why I think universal basic income is a good idea is that it can eliminate poverty. So I think poverty is an absolute scourge on society. I don't think people I don't want anyone anywhere living in poverty. I want everyone around the world to have a good housing. I want them to be able to afford good food, clean water, never to be cold in their own houses, and to live fulfilling lives. Some people probably don't want that for everyone, and they're evil, but not me. I think that everyone should be able to live with dignity, and I think it's disgusting that people in economies like the UK or America live in poverty when there is so much wealth available and kind of that exists within these countries and in certain people's bank accounts. Then I think it's so bad that we have billionaires while we also have people sleeping on the streets. I just think that just shows an unequal society. So to eliminate poverty and to give everybody the resources to be able to live with dignity. Would a simple way to do that is to give every single person enough money to live, essentially. The government can get this money through taxation, and then they can give it to the people. We know that even though some people do have jobs, that sometimes these jobs don't pay well enough for people to survive, provide for themselves and also their families. If there is a single parent and they have 3 children, then it's going to be very difficult for that person to balance family life, looking after their children, while also working enough in a high-skilled job to pay them money. And in the future, when robots and artificial intelligence become more prevalent within society, they're going to start taking people's jobs. And what are we going to do when more and more people become unemployed? I don't know. But unless new jobs are created, then more and more people may be sliding into poverty, which we don't want. So to give every single person a certain amount of money to provide them a safety net so they'll never live in poverty sounds like a good idea. One reason why universal basic income is a bad idea is that it's stupidly wasteful. Why would we give money to people that don't need money? If we had universal basic income in the United States, that means that every single person, regardless of how much they earn, gets given a certain amount of money from the government. Let's just say it's $1,000, just for example. Why would we give $1,000 to Elon Musk? Why would we give $1,000 to Mark Zuckerberg? Why would we waste government money by giving the richest people in society money while there are people that actually need it? It's completely wasteful. So instead of, I would say the majority of Americans don't need an extra $1,000 into their bank accounts because they're not living in poverty. Surely a better way of spending taxation, or the money that you would need to gather to give to every single American, or even anyone in any country, unless it's like Iceland where they don't have that many people. Not a dig, but yeah, it'd be easier to do it there. That's what I'm saying. To raise that money in the United States, you're gonna have to give to everyone. You're gonna have to get a lot of money, and to give that to every single citizen is just wasteful. Most people don't need that money. So isn't it better just to kind of gather less money through less taxation and then just give support to people that really need it? I just think it's just a silly idea. The second reason why I think universal basic income is a good idea is that it will provide a mental safety net to people. So everyone knows that money can be a huge source of stress for a lot of people. Some people go through mental breakdowns because of financial situations. A lot of marriages end because of financial situations. So I think if there was a safety net in place, so imagine everyone in society knowing that regardless of how bad their life got, if they get fired from this job, if the company ends, if the company's profit stops and a business owner has to quit the business, then they'll never live on the streets, that they'll always have enough money and support from the government, that they will never live in poverty, that they'll always be given enough money to provide for themselves, even if it's a very basic level of living, just kind of having a house and enough food and water. Even if it's just that, that will be a guarantee to people that however bad things can get, it's not going to be that bad. And I think to have that kind of safety net of like a couple having an extra $2,000 a month would just be incredibly beneficial from like just a mental point of view. Like money can be such a huge problem for people. If we just give people this head start, then it's going to make people feel a lot more secure and happier. And then why wouldn't we want a more secure, happy, and less poverty in society? Very simple way to do it. Give everyone free money. Are you an upper intermediate or advanced English learner interested in culture, society, politics, philosophy, and psychology? Do you want language learning to be fun and easy, but find it hard to stay consistent and don't use much English in your daily life? Join the Deep Dive English community, where you'll get live group calls to practice speaking, interviews with language learning experts, a weekly newsletter filled with podcasts, videos, and articles, a supportive community of like-minded learners. Our community provides a space to practice your speaking and writing, engage with interesting content, and connect with others who share your goals. It's a fun and effective way to improve your English skills faster than going at it alone, with guidance from top-tier tutors. Click the link in the description for more information and take your English to the next level. Up until September the 1st, the group will be free to join. After that, all new members will be asked to pay, so join now. The second reason why I think universal basic income is a bad idea is that businesses and landowners will just raise their prices. So imagine living in your country and the government say, okay, we're going to give you, €1,000 a month, £1,000 a month, $1,000, whatever it is. And then there are no regulations or controls to make sure that landlords, people that own houses and they rent them out to people, if there are not measures to make sure that they don't increase them too much, they're just going to think, well, everyone in society has an extra £1,000, €1,000 in their bank accounts. Why don't we just raise the prices of our rent? Because they will be able to afford it. The same with businesses. Recently, we've had high inflation in the United Kingdom relative to history, around 15%. If you calculate all the different industries and subsections. And one of the areas that we've had a lot of inflation is food. And that's probably been the thing that I've noticed going up the most. So when I go food shopping, I look what I'm buying, I look at the basket, and I look how much it costs. I think, wow, I'm buying 3 items and it's £20. This is kind of crazy. Olive oil, I have to save for olive oil now. I'm joking, but olive oil is expensive. So I think that recently some businesses, like supermarkets, have put up prices because everyone else is putting up prices. Maybe the cost of the production of apples, we grow apples in the UK, or pears, maybe this hasn't increased. Maybe it's actually the same amount to produce apples, but everything else in the supermarket is going up, and also their competitors are putting up prices, so why don't they put up prices of apples? I don't trust businesses, I don't trust landlords to keep prices low when they know that everyone has got an extra bit of money in their bank accounts. Because the idea of a business is to create profit. I've got no problem with that. But if they know that their customers and clients can pay more money for their services, especially services that they need, like food, like housing, then they will probably increase prices. And most governments don't want to kind of restrict business. We live in a capitalist society. The whole idea is free enterprise, free markets. People get to decide the prices. If customers think that's a good price, then they buy it. Government try not to get in the way. And why would they get in the way here? Why would they just randomly decide to do it? Maybe because universal basic income is a huge policy and it would change kind of society drastically. So maybe they would be forced to. But yeah, I don't trust businesses not to raise prices. So imagine the government gives you an extra $1,000 per month. Let's just say euros, because I'm guessing most people are not going to be American watching this. Imagine the government gives you an extra €1,000 per month, and then your monthly outgoings increase by €600 because these things that you need to buy, transport, taxis, housing, rent, food, they just up the prices and you just end up spending that money anyway and you don't get anything more. It doesn't provide you with a safety net. You're just in exactly the same place, but the government gives you an extra €1,000 and you're spending that extra €1,000 doing the same things that you were spending, buying the same things that you were buying before. If anything, this is just people getting taxed to pay for this really expensive system and then giving it to the people, and then them spending more money on the people that got taxed, businesses. It's silly. The third reason why I think universal basic income is a good idea is because once the robots do take over our jobs, people will have to rethink how they spend their time, and one way we can spend our time is by creating art, creating businesses. And I think if we did have a universal basic income system, then I think people would take more risks and more gambles when it comes to their passions. I think a lot of people work jobs that they don't really love. They may like it a little bit. They may like Friday afternoons. They may like the people they work with, but the job that they actually do, they don't really like. They never really wanted it. It's not their passion. They have other interests that they care way more about. And I think if people were given a safety net, a real safety net of a guarantee that they can live with dignity, regardless if they have a job or not, then I think people would pursue their passions more. They would be artists. They would dedicate their lives to sports, perhaps. Maybe they might not become a sports person, but maybe they'll just spend more time doing things that they actually love. And I think this would be better for society genuinely. I imagine, without art, without films, without TV, without music, without paintings, without books, life would be pretty boring. And if if kind of the demand for work goes down in the next 50 to 100 years because of artificial intelligence, because of automation, because of robots, then maybe people will be given more free time to do the things that they love. And they would be able to take risks with that and concentrate on that more if there was a guarantee and a safety net of a basic income. The third reason why I think universal basic income is a bad idea is because it will disincentivize people to go to work. Imagine the government is paying you a certain amount of money for doing absolutely nothing. Regardless if you have a job or not, then why would you be motivated to go to work? Like I just said in my previous point, most people don't love their jobs. So if you don't love your job and you think, hold on a minute, I hate my boss, I hate my job, I'm unhappy, makes me stressed, I can't stand speaking with customers, and I know that the government are going to give me €1,000 per month for doing nothing. I could be playing video games all day, I could be watching YouTube, I could be sitting with my dog all day. Why won't I just do that? And it makes sense. People go to work because they need to earn money, because they need to live. And if they get given money from the government just for doing nothing, I don't think many people would probably go to work. I think I think people will still go to work because they want extra money, because it buys them freedom. However, due to this point, people will be less inclined to do jobs that are important, especially like service work. And also, I think people would work less. They'd work part-time. Like, if they would cut their hours in half, they would just work 20 hours a week, for example, and just get that extra €1,000 from the government. Sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, I think people still need to go to work because people need to create products and services for us to buy. Maybe not at the level that we're buying them, but still important that people go to work. Very necessary at this moment in time. The robots have not taken over yet. So yeah, that's the third reason people will stop going to work, or people will go to work less if the government just give them money for doing nothing. Okay, that's the debate. The idea of universal basic income is an interesting one. I don't particularly know where I stand on this. I kind of can see the good and bad things about it. So I'm really curious about what you think. So if you enjoyed it and you have some opinions on this topic, let me know in the comments. I'm going to link down quite a few kind of resources in the description because there is a lot of material on this online and loads of cool YouTube videos of people explaining the pros and cons of it. So I'll link it away. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.